Hello, I'm David Hunt and welcome to the Art Hunter. My guest today, this is a cheats one because he is a dear friend and I love him to bits, but he's an extraordinary man. Just listen to some of the accolades. Indigenous artist with paintings hanging in the United Nations building in New York. There's paintings hanging in Paris, London, you name it, he's got paintings hanging somewhere. His art also features on the cover of a lot of university books around the world, so like well known around the world on that front. He also had a piece of his art that was used by one of the major banks here in Australia for their TV ad, at the ATMs you would see it when you went to do a withdrawal. Print ads, it was everywhere. They featured it really heavily for about 6 months. He is also amazingly generous with his art, where he donates to organisations on a regular basis, one being Joy 94.9, which I always con him to do it for Joy. And without question, he always does it. He is collected heavily, and he also has sell-out exhibitions all the time. And I'm talking about the one, the only. We know him as Ande K, but everyone else in the art world and the wider world know him as Ande Kempnich. Hello.
Hello.
And welcome to the Art Hunter.
Oh, it's an honour to be here. Yeah. Thanks for the invitation, by the way.
My pleasure, my pleasure. As I said, I've known you for a long time now. Mm-hmm. Where did the interest come? Like you're an Aboriginal man, Indigenous man, but you're not from Victoria, you're from where?
Originally from Twee Heads. It's almost Gold Coast, but it's on the New South Wales side.
Right.
It's right on the Queensland New South Wales border on the coast.
Right.
I often tell people my family are borderline.
That's funny. Mm-hmm. You've got a good sense of humour, which I like that.
You need
it's very dry,
yeah,
it's very dry. And you didn't start off painting until a bit later in life.
Professionally, yeah.
Why? Why? There was no interest in the art before?
No, I think it was a confidence thing that I wasn't, I had painted since I was a child, learnt from aunties, uncles, cousins, older siblings, and painted all my life, but recently, I say recently, it's been about 25, 30 years that I've been painting professionally.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what was it, Andy, that made you think, I'm going to give this a whirl to see? You wouldn't have never guessed in a million years that you would have paintings, hanging
at the
around
time,
the world.
At the time, I had no idea. Yeah. But I built up the confidence. I took probably 3 or 4 paintings to one of the galleries in the Queen Victoria building in Sydney.
Yep.
And they loved them.
Yep.
And they ordered a dozen paintings of those. And so I thought, wow, this is good. I might try another gallery, see if they're interested. And then on and on and on. Everyone said yes.
Yep.
Yeah. And people, they often say you have to go through a lot of no's to get a yes. And I have done that. But it just seems that I've had a lot of yeses.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've been very fortunate.
Yeah. Fortunate. Well, when you're as good as you are with your art, it's not fortunate. It's true to form.
Yeah.
Looking over both our shoulders, we can see some of your art, and it's not atypical of Indigenous art. You do the dot form.
Yep.
But you have your own real strong particular style, don't you?
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
From years of practice. Oftentimes I would get a painting wrong. In my mind I will see what a painting looks like, but then the execution, it didn't work, sort of thing.
Yep.
But a lot of mistakes, and I sort of saw ones that did work, and the ones that did work I sort of stuck with those, and that sort of gave me the opportunity to really hone down the style of my very own. Yeah. And
you've told me before that you actually have to stick to the region of where you were brought up.
Absolutely.
That's folklore by saying, law in the art world. Is that right?
Where I come from, I paint paintings from my homeland. I live in Melbourne, but there are already artists in Melbourne, you know, from the local area that tell the stories of Melbourne. It's not for me to come in or anyone else to come into their land and tell their stories.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what is the focus on your stories? I see a lot of, you know, like humps and sort of circles, and they highlight and spread out. What are you telling us in your paintings?
It's mostly the environment and weather patterns, places to find food, etc. The sun, as you can see over on behind you, but yeah, basically just the environment.
Right.
Yeah.
And what taken from above, looking
usually,
down.
yeah, bird's
is that
eye
what you're
view.
doing? Yeah. And what gives you? Is it like a bird flying, is a view of it,
Yeah.
or is it your dream pattern of what you think it might look like if you were up there?
Yeah, the latter. It's sort of what I think it would be. Yeah.
And
the circles in my paintings, they can represent many different things, like concentric circles in the middle can represent the sun, like the orange one. It can also represent the peak of a mountain, like the black and white one. It can water holes, especially water holes. It seems to be one of the universal Australian across the board. We'll use concentric circles somewhere.
yeah.
Yeah. Although I have to say there are some that just absolutely don't.
Or don't mean anything?
Where they don't use the concentric circles.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Is there some paintings that you paint that there's no real story there, or there's no real, you know, like all of a sudden you just paint and you just enjoy and you lose yourself in it, or is it always focused on a particular thought?
As I said before, I'll have an idea of what I want it to look like. So the execution is it's a big deal. And oftentimes when I paint, like I'm looking at the paintings that I've done in the past, and it's like I wasn't even there. Like I look at the paintings and I sometimes think, that's really nice, but I never have the opportunity to go back and look at them because they're all, as soon as they're painted, they're basically gone.
Yeah, they're out the door.
Yeah.
Do you keep a record of every painting? Do you take photos of everyone?
I try to take photos of everyone. It's a bit difficult to say where the painting is going because they're sold through galleries.
Yeah. No, but before it leaves your home, that's when you should take
Oh
photos.
yeah, absolutely. Try to get some sort of record of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you're little bit hopeless in the respect that you don't really sell yourself very much, do you?
No, I'm not good at it. That's why, I think. Yeah, I think the paintings speak for themselves. I try not to talk them up. If someone likes a painting, I'll explain the story to them, but not really sell it to them. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
And what about commissions? Like you do a lot of commission work nowadays, don't you?
Absolutely.
You don't do a lot of galleries so much because the word of mouth is so strong for you.
Yeah. Well, I have recently got an order from Perth for a major work, which is measured in meters.
Whoa.
Yeah. Whoa. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'll really enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
Because it's very seldom I get the opportunity to paint huge paintings.
Yeah, well, you actually said when you walked into the set today, maybe I should start painting larger because they look good large.
Yeah.
Have you, so this is really a first thought of maybe going larger and that commission.
Yeah, I have done paintings like major works in the past, and I really enjoy doing them because I get so much pleasure from doing it. But once you put that first dot on,
off you go.
Yeah, the rest of the canvas is blank, so off you go. And when I'm dotting, I'll often have a movie playing. There's a lot of movies that I've heard but never seen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when I'm painting, I can imagine and every now and then take a look at the TV and sort of paint and imagine what's going on from what I hear in the conversation.
Yeah.
So.
Now, you have a little workshop out the back.
Yep.
Do you always paint there? Is it something that you always do? Like when you go out there, that's all you do out there. Do you ever paint inside the house, or do you ever paint
on both?
Yeah.
I'm one of these people wherever I go, mess falls off me. So I try to keep it out the back and not in the main house. Yeah. Simply for the reason that, it's a house, it's not a studio. I've got a studio and a dedicated space for that. Yeah, so...
Well, this big commission that you're going to do, and I can't wait to see a photo of it. I might even come over and check it out before it leaves your place.
Yeah.
Where are you going to paint that? Is your studio big enough?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
Right. Because I've seen it from the outside, but I don't think I've ever been inside. It opens up, doesn't it? So, yeah. So you can be half indoors, half outdoors.
Yeah.
So your dots, what do you use? Do you use your finger? Do you use a brush? What do you use?
It's very technical. You have to get a stick off a tree, blunt the end a little bit, and dip it in paint, and then off you go.
Do you ever walk down the street and say, "Oh, perfect stick," and pick that up and go, "Oh, I found the perfect stick"?
Not at that stage yet.
Oh, no.
Not yet.
Oh, well, maybe I can go out and find you sticks.
Yeah, but you better be sure that I'm going to go outside and I'll be looking for sticks now.
Actually, I'm going to do that for your Christmas present. I'm going to get about 10 sticks and tie them up with a bow and give them to you and go, here you go, off you go, paint. And so you've never moved on from that. You find it, like that's the best. And do you reuse the same stick, or do you throw it out at the end of it?
I can use it for a while. And then just throw it out, because there's plenty of sticks in the pool.
Oh, there's plenty of sticks, is there?
Yeah.
But what happens to it? Does it get too...
I just wipe the paint off and put it in the compost bin.
Right, okay. Yeah. But it gets too saggy or something.
Yeah, and at the end of the stick can fray, depending on the type of tree.
And because you need the perfect dot, don't you, is the key there.
Yeah, I find that people demand that now, is close to perfection.
Yeah. Which is fair enough, because and your reputation needs to be as well. Now, I mentioned about United Nations building in New York.
Yep.
How did you feel when you were told that one of your paintings was going up on a wall at the I would be jumping out of my skin if somebody told me that.
Yeah, I found out after the fact. I knew that paintings were going to the United Nations. They actually had an exhibition.
Of all different artists?
Yeah. And I'm not sure the process, how they managed to get that painting, but they secured it and it's hanging there.
So they said, that's the one we'd like to keep from the exhibition that was there?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how. I really am not sure. That happens a lot with me.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
You don't ask enough questions.
Yeah, probably.
But you're one of those people that I've known you in a life where you've been a newsreader, and you're good at trivia. So you do like questions and answers.
Yeah.
And when it's about yourself, you don't follow it through. Is there? And maybe you should lay down on that couch and I'll get my pad out.
I had a bit of a lay before. Yeah, I'm okay now.
But you are that humble though, aren't you, as an artist, where you don't, where I would be bragging all the time, oh, look what I've done and all that, where you're not like that at all, are you?
No. I remember, I think you told this story recently, that when we first met, and you said, what do you do? And I said, oh, well, I'm an artist. And you sort of thought, well, here we go, another one of these. But you didn't realise that, the extent.
But it was a long time after that I met you. It wasn't straight away.
No.
That you actually told me.
Yeah.
And then I looked you up and discovered, although it's hard to look you up because you don't have a website and there's not much on social media with your art as well.
Yeah.
But there is on my social media, because I've actually posted quite a few things of yours over the years. And this is the other humble side of you, is that everyone has a website, every artist has or Instagram, that they really sort of pound that. You don't want, and you don't need to do it, do you?
I think in the back of my mind it's that I want people to do the work. If they're really interested, they will find it. Yeah.
Okay.
Rather than hand it to them on a plate.
Right. So it's the discovery thing that you like, people finding out about you and then not being able to do much
There's
research.
no website, but there are other places,
Well,
other sites.
what are the other places? I don't know if there is anywhere else.
Oh, well, the Joy 94.9 website.
Yeah.
There were a few posted on
David
that.
Hunt's social
Yes,
media.
yeah.
Because as I said, like I featured you on a couple of exhibitions that I did through my social media, and also all the paintings I've conned out of you as fundraisers for Joy. So and thank you for all that and the many thousands of dollars that's been raised through.
But
your
I love
art.
doing that. I love giving back to the community.
Yep.
That has given me so much. You know? Yeah.
Yep.
And that's one way.
Yeah. Now, textbooks, covers of textbooks.
Yeah.
That stems through your partner, Ian, who is a law lecturer at Melbourne Uni.
Yeah.
How did it come about? Did he say to you, I reckon that we should get one of your paintings on one of the textbooks? Is that how simple it happened?
Yeah. And my partner actually spoke with the publishers, etc., and they did a mock-up of the cover, which they loved, and then they ran with it. And then the next edition of the book, again, they used a different painting. And then in the third edition...
Whoa, another
painting there. And there was also one, I can't remember the exact name, but it's an English textbook.
Right.
Yeah, so it's gone...
International.
Yeah. I didn't write the text, I just did the cover art.
Of course, the cover art. And what does that make you feel, Andy? Because that's a great honour, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, it's my people's stories, and getting them out there, that's the most important, to tell people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when Ian talks to other lecturers and other universities, because they're general textbooks, what do they actually comment? What are some of the comments that come back about your art?
Just the general, it looks really good. It looks fantastic. Those sort of comments.
And do you pick up commissions from that? Have you had any commissions from the textbook art?
No, not through that. Oh,
Bastards.
just continuing to do text covers.
Yeah. So how many of them have you done? Probably half a dozen?
Yeah, it'd be about half a dozen.
Right.
I think accurately it's 5.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, like you've had a bit of a break. Like you even sometimes have a break on painting because you don't want to flood the market with your work.
Yep.
Like flood the market isn't, because you don't go through a lot of galleries anymore. It's the word of mouth. So you back away for a certain amount of, and COVID, you really backed away a fair bit.
Well, during COVID, who would have thought to go out and buy art?
Well, everyone was. It was really popular.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
well, I missed the boat there.
You missed the boat, but it doesn't matter because you don't care on that front. But it was also the case that they couldn't have found you anyway.
Yeah.
So that was the problem. But then you came to the forefront and painted something for me as a fundraiser.
Yep.
Like just recently, well, this year actually. Will you do another exhibition? Do you want to do your own exhibitions?
Absolutely. The next exhibition I have is very involved.
Oh, you're doing one?
I want to keep it secret. Because, a bit of mystery about it.
Okay.
Because it's not a normal exhibition. It's a bit different. It's an exhibition with a slant.
A slant on where you'll be using different forms to view the art? Am I guessing right?
A different
here?
way of presenting the art.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. Ultraviolet lights might be involved?
Maybe.
I think I might. You're hearing it here first, people. Well, I don't know. I'm guessing there. So you've always liked to experiment, even though you're, like the blues. They all of a sudden appeared recently. You haven't always painted with blues, have you? And all of a sudden, people have gone crazy for the blues.
Yeah. Well, blue, where I come from, is a sacred colour. It can only be obtained from a certain flower and mixed. The flower petals are mixed with ochre.
Right.
And it's very difficult to find blue in nature. So it's a sacred colour and it has to be handed down by the elders. And I said to my sister, you know, I really want to try blue, but I don't know which elders to ask. And she said, you can ask any of the elders and they'll have a chat amongst themselves when they see each other and they'll get back to you. And they said, look, because we don't live a traditional life and schlep up a mountain to get a blue flower, they said that's fine. Go ahead and use blue.
Right.
Yeah.
So you weren't using it made by them so much. You were using
earthy colours.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mostly. Yeah.
And were you surprised the reaction you got by using blue?
Absolutely. It was probably the most popular colour scheme. I've tried several different styles with using the blue, and people just go mad for it. Yeah, because it is, you look at it, it's typically an Indigenous art, but not typically blue. And as I even had someone say to me, because I at an exhibition and it was with blue painting, she said to me, but Aboriginal people don't paint with blue. And I'm looking at this painting and I turned to her and I said, if it's not blue, then what colour is it? I mean, it's right there in,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you know what, the NGV's triennial, did you go to it, this triennial?
No.
There was a whole section of Indigenous and it was blue and it was in poles.
Okay.
And Tony Elwood, the head boss of the NGV, he went to this artist's studio and saw them in the back corner and said, I want them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they went, like no one's been interested in them before, and it was blue.
Yeah.
And everyone loved them at Triennial. So there you go. Then black and white is quite dramatic and quite removed from, although I'm seeing more and more black and white in recent time.
Probably about 10 years ago, I was urged to try my hand at black and white, just a one-off, and that worked. And so I tried, just black and white, different styles and different, and they just seem to work.
Yeah.
They'll go in with any colour scheme in a house.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then, of course, the traditional sort of orangey, yellow, and red colours, which that's almost like your signature in a way, isn't it? Those colours.
I find that people, when they buy, they feel more comfortable with the earthy colours. The blues are a bit more quirky. There's something different about them.
Yep.
But the earthy colours will always be popular.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Now, what I love about it, and I've seen some of the painting as you're doing it, photos, is that the undercoat, well, not the undercoat, the layer underneath. What's that called actually? The background. The background. That must be a really important stage because a lot of it is, you almost create an optical illusion with the way you do it.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that a painting that you did recently had a real optical illusion.
Yeah.
How hard was it for you to come up with that? And what is it? Is it the actual background, or is it a combination of the background and how you paint the dots over certain sections of the background?
The background, especially if it's only white dots, the background is the most important part because it gives it a base for the design to go on top of. But with white dots, which I use quite often, just white, but the background provides the colour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you seeing that optical effect when you're painting the background, or do you have to then add the dots for it to really stand out?
It's sort of a bit of both. The background will always come through the design, but they sort of marry with each other.
Yeah. Is there times though because you are quite experimental with your art, are there times when you go, oh, that's crap?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and then you paint over it and start again?
No, because even though I don't like it, other people like it. and they'll buy
okay.
it. Yeah, but you know, it won't be to my taste. I'll find something that I don't like about it, but someone else will love it completely.
Right.
Yeah.
And what about, have you had a tin of paint in your gorgeous dog that is often sitting watching you paint? Have you or the dog knocked paint all over one of the paintings when it's almost finished?
No.
Oh, damn, I thought there was going to be great stories
Although
there.
I do have a good story. It's quite interesting. When I was working in Sydney, I was working really hard, like day and night, to provide the galleries with their paintings, because there was a big demand for them. Yeah. And so I was painting day and night, and I remember waking up one morning at the table, and I and I went to, you know, to the bathroom, looked in the mirror, and I had all these dots on my face. I had fallen asleep on the painting. I was that tired. Yeah.
That is hysterical.
Yeah, but it wasn't a good, it was all sort of smudged. But you could see like the dots.
The dots.
Yeah.
And so what did the painting look like when you went back and looked at the painting?
It was a disaster.
So did you have to, start again? Or or could you patch it? You started again, did you?
Yeah, it wasn't the complete painting, it was just sort of the starting.
Oh, thank God it was the start, not the last little bit of the painting. Yeah. You know, like, do you lose yourself in your painting? You know, like, that's, you know, all of a sudden you just think, I've got to finish this today. You know, I can't walk away, and it might be a fairly large piece, but, you know, you've just got to keep on going.
Yeah. I'll because of the experience I've had, I can sort of tell how long a painting will take me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if I want to finish it off in a day, and I'm able to do that, I will. I can stick with it. If I want to have several different paintings on the go, do some on one, get a bit sick of doing that one, then move to a different one. Yeah.
How long would an average painting take you to, you know, start to finish? Because you obviously got to do the background, wait until that dries, and then start on the dots. Is the dots the most time consuming?
Yeah. The backgrounds are pretty straightforward, but the dot work is what people notice, I think. Yeah.
And how long would one take?
Depends on the size and the style.
Yep.
But you know, probably for a larger painting, a couple of hours over a couple of days.
Right. Okay.
Rather than, you know, in one sitting.
Yeah. But so if you did in one sitting, it would be an all-day exercise from morning
again,
to
depending
night.
on the size.
Yeah. But you don't like doing it that way. You prefer to walk away.
Yeah.
Well, I think, you know, like, you talk to writers, and writers talk about it all the time. You know, like, that they'll write, and then all of a sudden they go, no, I've got to walk away, go for a walk, or go and, you know, cook dinner, or do something, and come back and refreshed and see it through different eyes.
Yeah. With writing, it's a lot different to painting. I think writing gives a lot more of your person because it's your intellect.
Oh, you don't think painting is intellect?
I think, well, yes, I do. But I think writing has more of that aspect of intellect put into the work.
Because you do
more challenging, I would say. Than
writing
painting
is more challenging.
Yeah. Well, for me personally, I would find it. Yeah.
You know, I think you're short-selling yourself here, because I think a lot of people would think that what you do, you can see the intellect there.
Okay.
And you're just so used to it now that you don't even realise how intellectual you are in your art. But you are a fairly good writer as well, aren't you? You know, like, you can write a script.
Oh yeah.
You know, like for a newsread or whatever.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, that's not a problem for you.
No, but non-fiction and fiction, different writing. Yeah.
Have you ever thought that you might write your life story? Has that ever crossed your mind? Or do you think your partner Ian could maybe do that from a, you know,
outside view? I don't know. If I did, it would be a vanity project. It would be something that I would write for myself and then maybe have published. I'm not sure that people would find it interesting.
Yes, they would. And it's that shyness. of you as well that you probably wouldn't do it. That's why I thought maybe somebody else should do it, like your partner Ian.
Yeah.
And you know, like, and his perspective on you, which I think could be really interesting. You know, like, and because your journey, you know, like coming from regional New South Wales, you know, moving into Sydney. Now you've ended up here in Melbourne, and you've really, it's been Melbourne that you've really made your name, isn't it?
Yeah, both Sydney and Melbourne. I wouldn't be in the situation I am now without having done Sydney first.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, getting it into the Queen Victoria building is a bit of a coup in itself.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful building.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Would you like to? You know, there was an opportunity that came along this year to the art trams with Melbourne as part of their the art tram series. You applied, but then you realised that you should have, you know, needed to put a lot more time and effort into it.
Yeah, it wasn't a successful application, but I really found it useful to find and discover the rigmarole that you have to go through in order to do things.
Oh yeah.
So that was a learning experience because I've never done that before.
Yeah.
I haven't even applied for a grant or anything. I wouldn't know the first thing to do.
Yeah. Would you like to do something like that again? You know, would you...
Definitely. I will apply again next year, but I'll have a bit more insight into what's required. Yeah. So that's why I don't feel bad about not being accepted.
Yeah. Well,
because there's a bright side on it.
Yeah. Well, like all the big art prizes, you know, like you very rarely win first time round.
Yeah.
You know, like you often have to.
And you can imagine
times.
The competition is huge.
Yeah.
So many people would love to have their work on a tram. Yeah.
Now you were talking about an exhibition that you're working towards. Will it be this year, or is it going to be next year? Or
I think it will be this year.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking September, October.
Okay.
We're now in May.
So it's not very far away then.
No.
You're going to have to pull your finger out. Have you done many paintings?
Yeah.
Oh, you have done a few. Right, okay. But is there something down the track that you want to achieve as an artist, in your career as an artist? Is there anything in particular, or are you happy to, and knowing you, I'm half guessing that you'll say you're happy to go along the way you are, but it's often nice to have a goal that's out there, isn't it?
Yeah, well at the moment the exhibition is the goal. I don't really know where the journey is going to take me. I don't really dream big, but stick with it and keep painting, especially for the exhibition. There'll be, I'm really looking forward to it, but there's a lot of work to be done in between.
So. But that's a good philosophy to have, is that, you know, like, just let things unfold and happen in life. You know, it's nice to have a pipe dream, but those pipe dreams can be moved, so the goalposts can be moved so regularly, can't they?
Oh yeah. And it's not because I'm afraid or scared to do something big. It's just that, you know, I look back on my career and there's so many achievements that I'm happy with that I don't really need to, I don't need to strive for something bigger because I already have achieved so much and I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
But I'm also happy to keep painting.
And just keep on moving forward. One time, one of your sisters is a Facebook friend of mine, and she makes comments when there's a piece of yours up there. I don't know if you're aware of that, that she makes comments. And like, so it's lovely, you know, having family on site who's aware of what you're doing and watching it from afar, because you're the only one that lives here in Melbourne. Your mum wasn't around to see your success, or was she?
No, the success came afterwards. I was actually living, when my mother passed, I was living in Brisbane, and I was working in radio in Brisbane there. So at that time I wasn't really painting professionally or commercially. So that came afterwards.
Right. And what did she think about you, the fact that you were picking up the stick and going for it with the
Well,
stick?
she had seen me do it my whole life.
Oh, okay.
So it was a sort of a turnaround of painting for pleasure into painting for pleasure and for selling.
Yeah. And did you actually give her any of your pieces?
Give my sister?
No, your mum.
No. But there was one painting in the house that went up on the wall that
Well, you gave it
everyone
to her.
liked. Yeah. So
Yeah. And who's got that now? Or was there a fight over
my
it?
brother has it.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're happy that he's got it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't want it? Seeing it with your
No,
mum
I don't
had it?
want it, but it's nice to have it around because
when
it's
you
from
visit.
very early in my career, and it's to see the style then and how it's developed.
And
Yeah.
how much has it developed? Do you look at that painting now and cringe a little bit?
Kind of, but not really, because I didn't know anything else. I didn't have the experience where I could, hone in and everything. It was an expression. Not exactly perfect in every way, but yeah, I'm glad it's still around in the family.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it means a lot to me. It was probably the first painting I've ever had that was hanged.
Yeah, and the fact is that most of the others are in somebody else's collection or home, so you can't actually see them.
No.
So it's nice that there's
Yeah.
Andy, thank you so much for talking to me today. Thank you so much
Pleasure.
for the art that you've given the world. I'm thanking you on behalf of the world because it's special. When
Yeah.
I look at one of your paintings, and looking over your shoulder again just there, I caught a glimpse of one of them. They're so special that I'm proud that I know you as this artist of great Indigenous paintings. So thank you.
Pleasure, and thank you for inviting me. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it.
Good
thank
on you.
you.
Okay, I'm David Hunt, and thank you for watching The Art Hunter.